Subscribe, like and share. Remember to click the bell please. Watch our playlist again so as to grasp the continuous trend of the market and refresh your mind. Good evening, guten Abend, bonsoir, buenas noches to investors in North and South America. 我係有個正 Mr. 安安哈西好，各位早晨 Good morning to investors in Asia. Buenas noches, buenas noches, good night to investors in Europe and Africa. I'm Daniel Yu speaking from Hong Kong. It's 19th December here and 18th December in Wall Street. This week, I'll talk about 5 main points. Number 1 is inflation relating to Dow Jones and NASDAQ. Number 2, pandemic in China. Number 3, unrestricted warfare on chips. Number 4, strong anti-falling stocks. Number 5, quadratic meteor shower. First of all, we have to view the heat map chart of S&P. This is the heat map chart of S&P in the past 7 days. That is before the drop of the market after the FOMC meeting. Prices were in a narrow range and now nearly all wet. So we can easily find out the green stocks, which are AMAT, Meta, ADBE, TMUS, mRNA, XOM, LOW, BA, and CAT. They all prove to have strong anti-falling power. We'll have a review by the end of this video. For the past week, it is plain and clear the focus is on December 13th and 14th of CPI and FOMC meeting, exactly the peak of Gemini Meteor Shower. However, the uptrend is generated by Orion Meteor Shower of late September, but it has no relation to the American spaceship Orion coming back from the moon. So what pushed the US stock market to the current situation? We need to have a comprehensive view of the current inflation cycle from Do-Re-Mi. This is the inflation table of America. For those investors that have more data at hand can have a deeper analysis. The more data you have, the more peculiar analysis you can make, or else even if you listen to others, you can tell the right from wrong. The current inflation problem occurs in March 2021, where inflation went over 2.0% watershed and reached 2.6%. But the Federal Reserve said it's just temporary. But if we view it on the chart, don't look at the March situation. No. For the March CPI is announced on April 12th, it first carried out the problem of inflation, even though the market still keeps on rising, but entered the peak level platform. Please note the 250 SMA, with effective from that day, prices keep nearer to the line. But when we change to NASDAQ, it's another story. April 12th is here, just after the jumping gap of April 5th. Prices still go up with the 250 SMA, with the 100 SMA as support all the way. Ultimately, the apex of NASDAQ is seen on November 22nd at 16212.23. The CPI of October announced on November 10th is already as high as 6.2%, and Dow Jones is seen on January 5th at 36952.65. The CPI of November announced on December 10th is at the high of 7.0%. Market sentiment was so optimistic, even they know the interest rate cycle will start to increase in 2022. On March 10th, 2022, the February CPI was announced at the high of 7.9%. On March 15th, Federal Reserve started a rate increasing cycle, but keep on saying inflation is temporary. Market sentiment is still optimistic on the day of rate increase. Dow Jones showed a big white candlestick and started a small upward wave of 12 days. and the wave started from under all 5 average lines to over all 5 average lines of 10, 20, 50, 100, and 250 SMA. NASDAQ also started a 12-day rising wave where 10 days are in white candlestick but met with resistance at 100 SMA. Let's track the CPI relation to Dow Jones one by one. April 12 announced the March CPI at 8.5%. May 11 announced the April CPI at 8.3%. June 10th announced the May CPI at 8.6% and caused a slump in the market because increasing interest rate cannot lower inflation. July 13th announced the June CPI at 9.1%, when most people expect rate hike will be of 100 points, and even Bank of Canada changed from 75 to 100 points, but the Fed still keeps on 75 points, which means magnitude will not be larger, and thus started another rising wave. On August 10th, July CPI was announced to drop down to 8.5%. Dow Jones goes up to a wave of over 250 SMA, which is also one of the bull market watersheds. And NASDAQ 100 even gone up the bull market watershed of 20% from bottom at 12674. And this definition is more used than the 250 MA definition. Henceforward, inflation continues to drop. On September 14th, August inflation announced at 8.3%. On October 13th, September inflation announced at 8.2%, and market started a rising wave. On November 10th, October inflation announced at 7.7%, but the latest is on December 13th. November inflation announced at 7.1%. Originally, it was good news, but the market turned down simply when the Fed disclosed they would continue to increase interest rate until inflation is fully controlled. So what we can see is market sentiment is on reverse trading. That is, buy on bad news and sell on good news. When CPI rose to a high of 9.1%, there was no slump in the market but started another upward wave. Last week, after 4 straight times of increasing for 75 base points, at last cut to 50 points. CPI also dropped to a low of 7.1%. They sell on good news, even though they knew the rate hike still had to continue long ago. But I have already disclosed in the weekly comments in video 3 of 2022-1031 shows that it is in wave 3, which means halfway of the rising and still have halfway to go. Video 8 on 2022-1205 already pointed out Dow Jones is in wave 5. The resistance is at 34393.12. It is the watershed of bull market. The index gone over a little for 3 days only and cannot continue to go up. In video 9 of 2022-1212, warn of fund flow withdrawing. When you want to know how these calculations are done, please refer to my electronic handouts and series of 14 teaching videos and daily report known as US Stock Express. Also our Telegram group, which has the latest news every now and then. And we have 2 similar paintings here. Do you still remember which painting appeared in the last video? Our training course is unique and has memory power training in advanced course. Generally speaking, understanding power is above all, but it does not mean memory power is unimportant. A strong memory power can make you recall the above CPI figures and data out of a mess at once. Not only this, our seminar also has a person-to-person psychological test to help investors to understand themselves more. In addition to inflation, mind that market sentiment will gradually change to employment rate to see how rate hike affect the economy as a whole. For the unemployment rate is expected to rise from 3.7% to 4.6%. Whether a recession will come in 2023, we can view it from the unemployment rate. So for pandemic in China, since there are no more PCR cases now, no one can know the exact number of pandemic or even death. Only from unofficial news said there is quite a large outbreak, that hospitals are overloaded and a lot of people have to be self-isolated. What investors mind most again is the production chain. Keep an eye on all good and bad news concerning. Don't forget, when Jupiter and Saturn meet together by the moon in late January, it's the peak of the outbreak and still will need one whole quarter to cool down. China again launched a project of $1 trillion to develop the semiconductor industry on their own, while their military expense is just $0.2 trillion. This is not the first time. A few years ago, it was already said to have a $0.7 trillion project. This is part of the unlimited warfare against the sanction of US, while Joe Biden launched out just $280 billion semiconductor project. Seem to be more practical when merging with Western countries and Japan, Korea and Taiwan, as well as the sanction on China. The effect is multifold and is even greater than the effect of intellectual property in phase 2 of Sino-US trade agreement of Donald Trump, which had no chance to carry out. It is because China has no emphasis on innovation in foundation industry and just requested for transfer of intellectual property in the past 43 years of reformation, and everyone must stick to the concept of Beijing. Anyway, a boom in semiconductor stocks can be envisaged in the long run. So when the market drops to a certain extent, it's time to collect them, but no need to be in a hurry. As for strong anti-falling stocks, we can go through them one by one. AMAT has topped long ago and is still kept above the ranging platform. Meta is near the high of ranging shown. ADBE is in medium level of ranging shown. TMUS shown a big white candlestick while the market is falling. MRMA, the basic trend is better than the market. XOM kept in high platform. LOW shown a doji. BA is flying high and the 737 MAX will back to sky soon. CAT is rising in high platform. So when we come back after New Year, there's a chance of popping up for the quadrantes, which are a meteor shower that peaks in January 4th and starts on December 26th, whose radiant lies in the constellation Bootes. So, as the holiday mood approaches, don't forget to do more research in the coming weeks. Sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, adieu, bye bye, see you next week.